What is up, my people? Welcome to another video. Let's talk movies today. I want to talk fight scenes. You know, my top 5 fight scenes ever, in my personal opinion, of course. Now, let's talk about what's gonna be included, because I don't want people to be like, oh, what about this? What about that? And I mean, you're entitled to your opinion or whatever, but in this particular list, I'm gonna focus on one-on-one or maybe 1v2 in some cases. Right? Very, very because I feel like 1v2 is kind of challenging, but for a main character, you know, it's kind of nothing if you think about it. Because most of the time we see crazy stuff like, you know, like protagonist versus 100, protagonist versus 50, protagonist versus 40, protagonist versus, you know, a whole neighborhood. Like, there's actually movies like that, but I want to exclude those because I just want to make another video for those, because I know there's, of course, The Raid. You know, everybody always talks about The Raid being one of the best martial arts action movies ever, but there's mainly, you know, when it comes to Okwa, or whatever his name is, I really have trouble pronouncing his name. But when it comes to the protagonist of that movie, he's always fighting against multiple opponents. You know, he's always fighting against impossible odds, for the most part. So, you know, he just off the bat, he's not going to be on my list. Or anybody that takes on, you know, that fights multiple opponents. There's going to be one on my list that does fight more than one, but I have my reasons onto why I chose him. And so what are the things that I'm looking for in a good fight scene? So I'm looking for good build up to the fight, right? Good drama, or lead up to the fight. So build up and lead up are different. The lead up to the fight means, like, you know, like why are they fighting? You know, what led up to this fight? And build up is like when they're already there, and they're like, you know, maybe showing off their kicks or something, or talking shit to each other, or something like that. You know, like some pre-fight banter maybe, or something like that. And so what else? Music is important. If the movie has good music going in the background while these two are like going at it, you know, that's definitely going to make it 10 times better. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for in the fight scenes. So in at my number 5 is Rocky versus Drago from Rocky 4. Arguably the best Rocky out of all of the 4, because I don't really count 5 or 6. But this one was the best one, and it's because of the things I mentioned before. It's because let's be honest, the choreography, which is another element that I forgot to mention that is very important. But the choreography is kind of lacking in this one. And I'm not saying that it sucks, but compared to some of the other ones in my list, the choreography in this particular fight scene is not necessarily nothing to look at. Or at least it doesn't measure up to any of the other ones in my list, or any other ones in anybody's list, because of the choreography. The choreography level is very low in this one. But what it doesn't have in choreography, it makes up for in music, in build up, and in pre-fight, and during the fight. There's a bunch of like things that they say in between each round, like like the part where he's like, he's not a machine, he's a man, and then the music builds up, damn, and it starts building up and shit. Like that kind of stuff is something you really don't see in movies anymore. You kind of don't see that kind of cinematography anymore, because we just don't see it anymore. I just don't know why, but we just don't see it that much anymore in movies. And it's just the drama behind it, the stakes behind it, the build up to the fight. They kill his friend. He wants to retire, but it seems like he can't retire because it seems like there's always another fight. He has to go to Russia to train. He's training in the woods and in the cold, and then you got Drago, using PEDs, and this was at the same time. If we look at the dark side of this movie, this was American propaganda, right? And it was saying that the Russians are using PEDs, accusing them of all being dirty, which they were, and they are. But, I mean, let's be honest, we're dirty too. I mean, we're extremely dirty. And we're also better at hiding it. Our drug, I'm going to be straight up with you, our drugs are better than their drugs. we just got better drugs, dude. We got better anabolic steroids than they do. And our boxers know how to hide it. Like, because they're working with the testing facilities. That's how they do it. That's how they get away with it here in America. Like, the testing facilities are the ones working with the guys using PEDs, and that's why they never get caught. So it's you just, if you're not cheating, you're not winning. That's the way it is. But anyways, let's get out of the real world and come back into this fight scene. I think, in my opinion, you're always gonna remember this fight scene if you like cinema, if you like, Rocky, and if you like fight scenes. This one is probably one of the best in anybody's list, and is the best in my list. Is one of the best, but it is low on the list because of, like I said, the choreography is not that great. But in at my number 4, this choreography is probably way better than Rocky. And so, and the thing about it is that the music is really good too. Like, go watch this movie. Like, the music behind this is crazy. It's like a guy playing a piano or something, and then he keeps repeating stuff. If like they keep doing the same move, the piano guy's like da, da, da. It's like the guy. I don't know if he's playing a piano or whatever it is, but as these guys are moving, he's like improvising like shit. That's what it sounds like to me. It's just a great scene, dude, and like, I feel like this fight scene is one of those unforgettable fight scenes in cinema history, because I feel like it's in everybody's list for sure. Like, I feel like if you haven't seen this fight, bro, this rooftop fight, it's from the movie Who Am I? Which, by the way, I think it's the original Jason Bourne, in my opinion. So basically, it's a spy who forgets who he is. He has amnesia, and he doesn't know who he is, so he has to go around trying to figure out, what his name is, where he's from, or whatever. Um, but he has these abilities to whoop people's ass with everyday appliances. And for example, this guy here, he's beating him up with his tie. But before that, he puts his jacket over him and ties him up and throws punches, which is an old school Street Fighter technique. I don't know if you know it, but you you pretty much bend the guy all over forward, pause, and then you pull his jacket or his shirt over it. And most of the time, a lot of these people have big jackets or big shirts. You pull it over his head, and you, since he can't see, it's like putting a blanket over somebody and start beating them. It's the same thing, but you're using his jacket to do it. And and Jackie Chan did it in a movie. When I saw that shit, I was like, hey, I know that move. This guy's from the block. um, but of course, the counter to that is a big wide haymaker. But Jackie took care of that because he put his arms, somehow he put his arms in the jacket and turned it into like a plastic. Like that, Jackie's crazy, dude. He be doing some crazy shit, like beating people up with refrigerators. I think he beat somebody up with a ladder one time. Shit. I think one time he like kitchen appliances, like two pans. Yeah, one time it was two pans. Shit, he just be using everything. But he was doing it, in this movie, and I remember the guy in the back there. He's the Taekwondo guy. Which, by the way, if you don't know, Jackie, he hates Taekwondo guys, or he likes them, but he always puts them in his movies as the main guys he has trouble with, and like they're like the final boss for him, which means that he probably has difficulty fighting against them. But the guy in the back, he's a Taekwondo guy, and he loves his kicks. And so they time each other to see who could beat him faster, because they underestimate Jackie, and that's part of the reason that I like this, because of the whole banter in between the fights, and how they underestimate him, and how they both get beat up in the end. So they're thinking that Jackie's a chump because he's short and he doesn't really look like much. And so they're like, I'll beat him in a minute, in less than a minute. So they put the timer on. He gets his ass beat, and I mean, you guys probably already seen this shit, but I'm still gonna say it just in case you haven't seen it. So he beats up the first guy, which is this guy here. He beats him up so bad that he's like, he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't have a tie or a jacket anymore. As that's happening, the guy in the back, the Taekwondo guy, he's taking off his jacket. He's like, "Oh shit, let me take off my jacket," because he seems like it's a disadvantage for this guy, this first guy. And then he starts beating him up with his tie. And he's like, "Oh shit, let me take off my tie." So it's like little shit like this, man, that makes fight scenes better. Like the cinematography behind it is just, I don't know, it just makes things better. Instead of it just being like a constant just fight, like boom, 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 bam. Jackie Chan takes these breaks to make it funny, and as opposed to Rocky, where he takes breaks in between fights in order to make it more dramatic and to make it more like you discovered something about yourself within the fight. And Jackie just takes breaks to like make fun of himself, make fun of the people fighting and shit like that. So it's kind of like a different contrast between the way Rocky does a fight scene and the way Jackie does a fight scene. But anyways, definitely look at this one. It's one of the best. But let's move on to my number 3, which is Jet Li kills a guy in a bar. I don't know if I could say that, but that's what happened. So this movie, man, the build up to this fight scene, was pretty much, it was kind of like gang wars, right? Or basically, you could even say similar to religious wars, but it's basically martial arts, right? So in those days there was different types of styles, different types of martial arts in China, and people actually did lose their lives defending their particular style. This was an actual based on actual events. You can go and look that up if you want to, but it's true. People would lose their lives defending their particular fighting style, and that's what this movie is based on these fights between different martial arts that were fighting for the honor of their particular fighting style, and so Jet Li's father, when he was little, he also practiced the same martial arts as him, but he had a signature move that he would use that could kill anybody. But the thing about it is that he didn't want to kill anybody, because you kill somebody to win something, it's you kind of losing yourself for the win, in my opinion. And this is why I like this movie, because the message behind it, right? And so his father loses a fight, a very important fight, and everybody makes fun of Jet Li. Everybody makes fun of Jet Li because he's a little kid, and you know how kids are. They're like, "Hi, your dad lost," or whatever. So he gets so mad, he gets so pissed, that he says, "I'm never gonna lose a fight ever again in my life." And he starts training martial arts. He grows up, and pretty much he never loses, right? And so this story, this whole movie is pretty much about what is it worth, never losing or always winning. Is it worth it? And the answer is pretty much no, because it's a never ending story of you kill that person, one of them, and they'll kill one of you, and you kill one of them, and they'll kill one of you. And that was kind of like a curse that China was on in that era of martial arts. And the only way to stop it was, to ask yourself, what would Jesus do, basically, even though they probably didn't know who Jesus was uh, in those days. But so basically, in this scene, what happens is that this guy that Jet Li is fighting in this scene, he broke one of his students' legs, and there was a whole back and forth between these two schools, and so they come to him and they're like, "Master, look, they broke my leg or whatever." And he's like, he has like a brace on or whatever they had back then, as like a brace, like two sticks. And he gets sad because the guy, he's pretty much done. Like if you break a fighter's leg, he's done. Even in today's era, like if you break a guy's leg, like if you break it, I mean, you could recover from it, but you're not gonna be the same. You're not gonna be doing no Ali shuffles anytime soon. Uh, is pretty much over, and it doesn't even matter if you throw kicks or not. Even if you're a boxer, you're gonna have to change your style, and very few people know how to change their style in a way to where you can fight with a handicap. Um, but I think the only ones I know, it's like Floyd Mayweather, Superfoot Wallace, and his dad, Floyd Mayweather's dad. I forget his name. Not Roger. What's the other guy? Senior. Floyd Mayweather Senior. So Floyd Mayweather Senior, he got shot in the. I don't know if you guys know the story. He got shot somewhere on the leg with a shotgun, and they fucked up his knee or something. So one of his legs was just messed up, and so he was gonna give up on boxing because he couldn't box no more. And the main reason, because boxers, any fighter, if you're a fighter, you don't have any leg, like if you don't have full motion of your legs, it's done. It's pretty similar to a horse. If a horse gets injured, you either got to put him down or just keep him, isolated to where he's not running, because he's gonna break his legs to the point to where he can't get up and he just dies. Um, and the same thing goes with a fighter. If a fighter breaks his legs or something bad happens to the legs, they can't. They just can't do it anymore. And so Floyd Mayweather, he was about to give up, and some gym rat tells him, "Hey, you don't give up. You just got to change your style. You're gonna do, the Philly show, the quote unquote Philly show, or the crab style, which requires very minimal movement, and you don't have to move your legs that much." And so he learns this style, and he gets back in there. He starts doing pretty well. He actually starts doing better than he used to when he did have a leg. The same thing happened to Superfoot Wallace. Superfoot Wallace, he was gonna give up too. And by the way, I heard somebody. The reason I'm bringing this up as well is because I heard somebody say that it was retarded. That those styles were retarded. Listen, bro, and this guy, I know this guy. He's good. He's good, but his mentality, he'd lose easy against these types of guys, because these guys have the mentality to push forward through adversity, and the fact that they developed a style that can push forward and kick your ass anyways, that shows that the type that they have the mentality of a fighter. And you calling them retarded shows that, I mean, you ain't shit, bro. And if you find any type of adversity, you're gonna just give up because you probably think that it's gonna be retarded if you keep pushing forward. But anyways, I'm not gonna talk about that guy, but I do want to talk about that type of mentality. And it's a very cowardly mentality. It's a very easy to beat mentality. When I see people like this, I'm like, yeah, you'd break fairly easily. But anyways, enough about that. Going back to I don't even know why I'm getting so distracted. But so basically, his student, his leg is broken, and he's like, damn, that's fucked up. And to a fighter, it's pretty much like death. It's basically my point that I was trying to tell you. It's pretty much like death to break a fighter's leg, because he's not gonna be able to do what he loves, which is fighting. And so Jet Li takes it personal. He goes and challenges this guy here with the red pajamas, and he's like, "Yo, you fucked up my boy. Now I'm gonna fuck you up." And he's like, "Yo, it's my birthday. Can we do this another day?" He's like, "Nah, we got to do it right now," because he's so pissed. He lost his head, and so they're fighting or whatever. It keeps the fight keeps escalating and escalating and escalating and escalating. And the reason I like this fight scene so much is because it shows, and the whole movie does it too. But in this fight, it kind of encapsulates how anger works, to where you start small and then it grows and it grows and grows and grows until you kill a guy, and then you realize, dude, what did I do? But by that time, it's too late. That's what happened in this fight scene. He kept going and going and going, and the guy, like, if we're gonna be honest, this guy with the red pajamas was more skillful than Jet Li. He just was. Like, on paper and in the stuff you saw him doing there, he was better than Jet Li. The problem with Jet Li is that, or the reason he won, is because he was willing to go that extra mile, or not that extra mile, but to go that extra step that you're not supposed to go through, which is killing somebody. And he did that. He went past that to where it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill you. And he lost himself, and not only did he lose himself, but he lost his family. He lost everything because he couldn't just let go of this obsession with winning and never losing. That's a great fight scene, guys. A great fight scene. Definitely recommend it. Definitely recommend the movie. It has a great message if you can see past all the action. But anyways, in at my number 2 is, of course, Jackie Chan's The Legend of Drunken Master. The Legend of Drunken Master is one of the best martial arts movies ever. And this fight scene, this final fight scene between another Taekwondo guy, and it's not just him. It's a Taekwondo guy. It's another guy with a hat and a chain that he fights against. So now I know I'm breaking the rules with it because this is kind of like a handicap. But the main guy he's fighting is this Taekwondo guy. The other guys are just kind of like little minions that he uses sometimes. And this this whole movie, especially in this final fight scene, is like almost like a video game. And this is the final boss that he has to fight in a steel mill, I think is what it is. And the whole time he's having trouble because he's good, but he's being teamed up against, and also this guy, he's another Taekwondo guy, the guy that he's fighting, and we all know Jackie has trouble against Taekwondo guys and kickboxers. So again, like I said, he always finds a way to put these Taekwondo guys as his main antagonist, and this is another scene where he's having trouble against this guy that kicks really well, and he's really fast with his legs. And so Jackie resorts to drinking, and the build up to this, you could miss it or you could get it, but I got it because it's like people are always telling them stop drinking so much, you're drinking too much, you're a drunk, you're this, you're that. But sometimes you have to be the bad things that people say you are in order to get the job done. And in the end here, in order to save the day, in order to be the hero, he had to drink and he had to get drunk so he could beat this guy's ass. And basically that's pretty much what happened. And I mean, the choreography in this thing was crazy. Anytime Jackie Chan does his drunken master style, it's gonna be, one of the best performances you're ever gonna see. And that's what happened in this movie. Definitely check it out, guys. I mean, it's hard to explain what happened in this fight scene. But when you see it, you're gonna be like, yeah, this guy's probably the best choreographer that we've ever seen. Like, real talk. Like, Jackie Chan, that's why he's in my list so many times. I think this is the second choreography or fight scene that that I mentioned Jackie Chan in. There's probably going to be more, to be honest with you. So to my honorable mentions, Snatch, final fight scene. And the reason I mentioned this because it's such a classic, fight scene. Everybody knows this fight scene. Everybody knows the stakes. They were going to kill his family, if he didn't give up or throw the fight. And it's a whole big deal going behind it. It's not that great of a fight scene, but it's definitely memorable, and there's definitely stakes behind it, and there's definitely kind of like the Rocky fight scene too, where there's a lot of drama involved. Another one that I want to mention is Jackie Chan versus Jet Li in the Forbidden Kingdom. The reason this fight scene was so epic was because it was two of the best martial artists of their generation facing off against each other. And for a long time we wanted this fight to happen. We wanted them to work together. We wanted this to happen. And it's not just them, like even before them, back in the 90s, we wanted Van Damme versus Steven Seagal. And it never happened for whatever reason. Later we found out that they had beef with each other and that they didn't like each other. We also wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone to make a movie. It never happened in the 90s. It happened later with the Expendables. But there's so many crossovers that as kids we wanted, and we never got. And Jet Li versus Jackie Chan was one of those crossovers, one of those team ups, and one of those fights that we always wanted to see, and everybody was always debating about it. Who will win, Jackie Chan and Jet Li, Jackie Chan and Jet Li. It just depends who you liked. But when it finally happened, I mean, it was one of the best shit ever. I mean, it was crazy. All right, so that's why this one's important. That's why it's one of my honorable mentions. Another one of my honorable mentions, of course, Jackie Chan again with Benny the Jet. And this would be probably the second time he meets up with Benny the Jet. It's another kickboxer type dude with very good kicks. And he has trouble with him, of course. And in this one, he has to relax in order to beat his opponent. And he has to, like, take it as a game because if not, he's going to get whooped because the other guy is a professional. You know? Another honorable mention is Bruce Lee versus Han from Enter the Dragon. In this movie, Enter the Dragon, this guy Han, he's responsible. He's responsible for dishonoring his fighting style and his temple, and he also killed, or he didn't kill his sister or his cousin, but he was connected to somebody who did, and so he's trying to get vengeance from this guy Han, and I think he says it in the movie. He's like, "You have dishonored the Shaolin Temple," or something like that, and you have dishonored my family. Something he says something. He says it very funny. But anyways, the reason I like this one so much is because of the message behind it. And there's what's gonna be, on my list because it has one of the best martial arts messages for somebody who practices martial arts. It's riddled with messages. This whole movie. But in this fight scene, they have this thing where they go like, destroy the image and you destroy the man, and that's how he beat him. And but the main thing I like about it also is, as far as the choreography, I like how he kicks him. And I know it's a mannequin, but he does this kick to where it's like, he just turns his whole hips into like swah. He like turns directions and he's in front like this and he just throws his leg out and he just turns the other way and boom, like the mannequin just freaking died, bro, and it's not even alive. I think the mannequin woke up, gained sentience, and immediately died because there's no way the actual any stuntman can take that kick, bro. Like, that's crazy. That was definitely a mannequin, but just the way the mannequin reacted to that kick was insane to me. Until today, that's one of the Bruce Lee memes. It's like watching him kick that mannequin soul out of that mannequin, bro. But yeah, I just like that kick so much because I remember where he laughs because he kicks him in the air, and then Han does this weird laugh like, and I remember getting goosebumps when that happened, like, ugh, like, what is that? Like, when I was a kid. And then Bruce Lee does that kick to him, and I'm like, yeah, get him. Because in my head, I'm like, when something scares me like that, it's either fight or flight. But the fact Bruce Lee kicks him, it's like maybe he felt the same thing as, like, he got them goosebumps as well. And he was like, I'm scared of that laugh. So he goes, whoa! It just hits him. Oh, man. Anyways, my number one is the fight that started it all. And I know I've always talked about this fight scene, but this is what made all of these other fight scenes happen. What started the whole thing? It's almost like this spark that lit, and boom! From there, everybody was like, you know what? We want to see all of these guys fight each other. We want to make it happen. We want to get all of these guys to just fight each other. Can we do that? Can we get that to happen? And this is that fight that happened, that made it happen. This is the first one. This is the mama of all fight scenes, the one that lit that spark, and made us want to see the Steven Seagals versus the Van Dammes, the Sylvester Stallone versus Arnold, the Jackie Chan versus Jet Li, the Donnie Yen versus Aqua, whatever his name is. We want to see these things because we saw it become possible with Jet Li versus Chuck Norris. Two different styles in here, and everything about it. I mean, maybe the music was not as good as some of these other ones that there was on the list, but um, it was pretty good anyways. It's like the build up, like for example, the cat. Just watching like, just because here's the thing: cats are weird, but they know when shit's about to go down. Have you ever noticed that? They know when somebody's either going. Like I have some weird experiences with cats. Like I remember one time, my dog was about to die, and I felt like he was gonna die, because was having problems, and you know, talked to the vet. The vet said, he's gonna die anyways, whatever, right? And you have options, and I don't want to talk about the options that I went for, but the point is that he was gonna die. I went out there and looked at him, and said my final goodbyes to him. And then I turned to my left because he was outside in his doghouse. And I turned to my left, and I see about, I'm gonna say about 15, maybe 20 cats on the neighbor's fence, which is also my fence, looking over to our side, and not just to our side, but to where my dog was about to die. And they looked like they were at a funeral where they were like looking at the cat die, and then my dog die, and they were kind of like talking to it. They were like meowing to each other, like meow meow. And I was a little creeped out, but at the same time, I just felt like they were just gonna look at it. I didn't feel anything threatened by them, because they didn't look like they were riled up. They weren't like pacing back and forth or anything. They were just looking, and they were looking at me like they felt sorry for me and the dog. And after when my dog died, and they left. They just kind of like paid their respects. It was weird, man. It was one of the weirdest things that ever happened to me. And they just looked and they left. Like one by one, they started leaving, and they were like meow, 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 and they started leaving. And I was like, "What in the world just happened right now?" And that was that. So, but why am I saying this? Because that cat knew somebody was gonna die. That's what I'm trying to say. That little kitty cat, he felt something. He said, like, yeah, it's time for one of these guys to die, and I think it's gonna be Chuck. And he was just there looking, waiting, and I feel like when he died, the cat was just like meow, and he left. Listen, bro, I'm telling you, I've had my experiences with these things. But anyways, getting back to the fight scene, it's one of the best fight scenes because it shows adaptability within the fight, man. It shows a guy who, in his mind, he's thinking, hey, I'm going to prove that Chinese martial arts is the best. And Chuck Norris is like, I'm going to prove that Japanese martial arts is the best. That karate is the best. And they go into the fight thinking these things, but only one guy lets go of that ideology and decides that he's just going to do something he saw some other guy do on TV or something. And he wins, bro. And I know some of y'all are saying, nah, that's Kung Fu, bro. That is not no Kung Fu, bro. He was doing some listen, bro, he was doing some Street Fighter type Muhammad Ali shit. Like real talk. Like at first he was like, woo, Kung Fu, right? And then Chuck was like, oh, Kung Fu, oh, bet. And he was like, ka 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 ka. And he, first round, boom, Chuck Norris wins. Then Bruce Lee gets back up and he's like, let me try this one more time, because I know I ain't finna get whooped by no karate guy. He's like, Kung Fu, pa, pa. And then Chuck Norris gets him again, tu, 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 pa, pa. And then Bruce Lee's like, you know what, I'm gonna have to do something off the cuff. And he grabs his chest hairs. And then Chuck is like, this ain't no Chinese Kung Fu. And he pushes it out the way. And now he's looking at him kind of weird, like, what is he doing? Right? And then Bruce Lee's like, all right, I'm finna do some of the stuff I just saw one of these guys in the alley do. Right? Remember that black guy he fought? I bet he beat his ass. He beat the black guy's ass. But he did something that he liked. He was like, I like how he jumps around a little bit. He's like kind of like Ali, right? So he started jumping around like Ali. And and then Chuck Norris is like, what is this? This isn't martial, like this isn't no regular martial arts. He's just jumping around like, what's going on? So he's throwing him off with some new shit that he hasn't seen. You see what I'm saying? And so now it's like, is this boxing? Is this kung fu? What is it? I don't know. I've never dealt with nothing like this before. That's what Chuck Norris is thinking. And then Bruce Lee starts to do some boxing shit. He starts setting up. He starts jabbing to the body, jab to the body. And then Chuck is like, oh, he's going to jab to the body again. He goes down, boom, hook to the face. Bah, gets him. Bro, I was like, damn, bro. This is some Street Fighter, like, top level shit. Like, and not even that, bro. This is some boxing shit. Like, this is some shit you see, like, some top level boxers do, you know, and it's just good, man. It's just one of the best scenes ever. And then towards the end, he throws Chuck Norris off, and he beats him mentally and he beats him physically, you know. Then he goes back to the martial arts, and you could see it. You could see him changing. He goes from jumping around to basing back down to doing like a lower stance. And then he's like, all right, come on. Now we could go back to karate versus kung fu. And then he tries to get him, and boom, now he gets him. Pah! Right? And Chuck Norris, he doesn't want to lose because he's about to die. He doesn't want to lose. And Bruce Lee's like, don't do it, bro. Like with his face, he doesn't really say anything to him. He just looks at him and he's like, don't do it. You're going to die. And Chuck is like, fuck it, I guess I'm going to die. He grabs him, bro. He falls into place, bro. And that's happened to me a lot of times to where guys, they just fall into my shit. It's almost like tiger versus snake. It's like, of course you're going to fall for this because I'm the tiger. Boom! Right into a guillotine. And he just pulls back and snaps his shit, bro. Like, yeah, pulls up and back. I don't even know why I'm telling you how to do that, but up and back. Snaps his shit, bro. It's kind of like turning off a TV, bro. The dude's, he's not going to feel shit. He's just going to go right to sleep, and he's never going to wake up. I don't even know why I'm saying that, but that's how the movie ended. But yeah, man, best shit ever, man. Like, and this is what started it all. This is what made people want to, see more of these. But anyways, guys, this is going to be it for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys later.